All right, all right. Hey everyone, good evening. As you are coming on, welcome. I'm so excited tonight about this conversation. So as you're coming in, go ahead and do me a favor. I just need you guys to put your name and where you're tuning in from in the chat for me in the comments so that I can say hi and our guests can say hi and we can just greet you and talk to you and interact with you. It's going to be pretty interactive tonight. It's going to be a really great conversation with a lot of different key points that we can all kind of chime in on. So definitely feel free to blow up the comments and let us know what you're thinking, what questions you have, and we are definitely here to answer that for you. So this topic in itself is so massive and there's just so much that you can say about it, right? And, the topic of taking up space and what that really means and how to even take up space in your industry is such a great topic, and I think this is the absolutely perfect person to talk to about this topic. So tonight I have the absolute honor and privilege of introducing someone that is one of my favorite people. His name is Branden Branden Alaen, and he is not only an international pageant candidate, but he's a brilliant consultant. He's a very, knowledgeable and seasoned model. Like he has so much experience in so many different areas that make him the perfect person to have this conversation with. So I'm not going to, say too much. I want to give him a chance to introduce himself, but welcome to Taking Up Space. Branden, go ahead and introduce yourself and let the people know who you are.
Oh, hello, beautiful, amazing, incredible souls. I hope you guys are all doing awesome. I'm coming to you live at 9 a.m. here in the Philippines, so we're definitely in a bit of a time jump, a time vortex here. And I just want to encourage all of you that life is figure outable, that everything in life you can figure out. But a big part about figuring things out in life is believing that you can even make it to where you got to go. 90% of success is just showing up. And I feel that the people that are going to be listening to this are people that are not even showing up. I got an offer to sing on a stage on Friday, right? And two things could happen. Either I sing on stage or I say, no, you know what? I don't want to sing on stage. It all comes down to what is the end in mind? What do you believe about your destiny? What do you believe about your dreams? What do you believe about yourself? And as we talk about making room, it's not about like where you are on the spectrum of how good or how bad you are. It's about where are you on how bad do you want it? And do you really believe you're ever going to achieve it? So I want to encourage every single one of you, if you've been sitting on the edge of like, man, am I really going to dive into this industry? Am I really going to do this? This is the video for you. This is it. This is the time, as I like to say, the clarion call, which is when they made out those big trumpet sounds when it's time for war, where it's time to fight for your dreams. It's time to believe in yourself again, and it's time to give it all you got. And I do believe you can have it all and do it all, but you got to be a time master, which we will go into that later on. So thank you for having me, Oksana. You're one of my favorite people as well. Author, speaker, branding guru, all of the above, mother, wife, all of the above. And you do it all, have it all, and you have time to do podcasts, videos like this. So congratulations. You should be very proud of yourself.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you so much. So if you're just coming in, go ahead and let us know who you are and where you're tuning in from. This is going to be a great conversation. So before we even dive right into the topic, right, I just want to make this clear. When we're talking about taking up space tonight, what we're really saying, it's not just about physically being present or just existing, right? What we're talking about is being able to show up intentionally as who you are, to own your value, and to really make an impact in every single environment that you walk into. So I wanted to kind of set that, preface before we get into it. So Branden, you have worked in pageantry on an international level. You have been a model, you have been a consultant and, done so many amazing things that require you to be in like really visible and highly competitive spaces. And so how do you see branding tied to confidence? Like what is the correlation there, and how does that affect the way that you show up in different spaces?
Well, the one thing I would say is if you're not where you are, stand on books. Okay, learning has definitely helped me to advance in any field that I'm in. When it came to modeling, watched tons of YouTube videos from top models that have been in fashion shows and learned different tricks when it came to posing and and runway and walking, also doing competitions, you get better. But also when it comes to consulting, I feel led to share a story with you guys on one time. It was negative $30 in my bank account, but I closed an $8,000 deal. So I went
Woo!
from negative $30 to $8,000 in just like an hour. My bank account did that jump. So that's another encouragement for y'all. Money isn't real. It's a currency. It's a flow. And a lot of times it's the energy that you're attracting that's going to have it go towards you. But it requires a confidence. Okay. Imagine someone starving and they're out there on a boat and they're fishing and they haven't eaten in days. And then all of a sudden they catch an entire freaking whale and they're going to be eating for months. I want you to think of it from that perspective. But the most important thing is really owning your space and knowing what you bring to the table. I was sharing this story recently, and it goes very into this. It's about knowing that you have what it takes to close this deal and to deliver what you're closing. You know, in any space, if you're going to take on a competition, then you have to know that you're ready to represent your country and you're gonna show out on stage. If you're going to close an $8,000 deal, you're going to give $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 worth of service. And knowing what you bring to the table, and we're not born with the ability to do these things. We sharpen our craft and we get better every single time, and that's what gets us to be able to do these things. So I hope that answered your question.
It did. And I'm going to piggyback off of something you said in a second, but we have a few people that are commenting, so I want to show them some love really quick. So we have Sam that's on. Hey, Sam. Thanks for tuning in tonight. We appreciate you. Okay, we have Amari on. Hey, Amari. That's one of my sisters. Hey, Amari. Love you. Thanks for tuning in. And then we have Brittany, another one of my sisters. Hey. Okay, and then we have, oh, hey, Grind. We have Big Grind on tonight, tuning in from Orlando. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Feel free to tag somebody, share this information. If there's somebody that you know may need this information tonight or may need to really know that they can take up space in their industry and with what they're doing, definitely tag them and let them know what's going on, okay? Don't let them miss this moment. This is very, very important. Okay, so back to what you were saying, Brandon, right? Because I feel like there were so many different things we could unpack there. It was kind of like, whoa, okay. So the first thing you started talking about was how money is just, it's a currency and it's a flow. Can you kind of elaborate on that a little bit for us? Because I feel like there was like a nugget there that people really need to pay attention to.
Yes. So before I get started, can you hear me good? Because I am outside in the
Yeah.
Philippines. We got all sound effects out here. Okay, cool. So it's just I've been realizing that it's our relationship with money that's more important than just the money itself. You know, have you ever
Yes.
gotten paid and then all of a sudden the pride of life takes over and you're already seeing that money gone before you can even enjoy it? I'm sure I'm speaking to somebody here. Like you just
Mm-hmm.
made money, you closed a big deal, but then you're like, oh, but when am I going to close the next big one? I've
Oof.
realized that it's really unhealthy. It's kind of like when you're having a good day and you're just waiting for it to turn into a bad day. So I had to start learning that when it came to money, I do believe in a divine architect. I do believe in abundance. And one thing I've been saying about abundance is who pays the water bill of a waterfall? We all know water parks are a heavy water bill, but a waterfall has been going on for centuries and nobody's been
Mm.
paying that bill or covering that bill. But the earth just happens to continue to allow that. As you can hear, the cards are confirming. The earth still allows the confirmation that, hey, the flow is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe just the reason why you're not receiving the income or the earning of what you're dealing with at this moment is because you don't necessarily feel either that you're deserving of it or you're not necessarily working to put it in to receive it. You're sitting there, you're waiting on it. I hold on to the book of Proverbs, and it talks a lot about wealth, and he was considered to be one of the wealthiest men, King Solomon, in his days.
Mm-hmm.
And he does say that if you're pretty much lazy, you're not going to be able to put out that work. Maybe the reason why you're struggling in this season is because you are being a bit lazy in how your approach is, or lazy in how you're showing up in your presentation, or lazy in how much you're preparing. Like you're
Mm-hmm.
not preparing, like you're not closing the sale. Well, then study sales. You're not
Exactly.
getting the gigs. Well, then sharpen your craft. And then I think we really only struggle because we choose to struggle, or our words are the struggle is real. Well, the struggle is real if you don't decide to say, well, the struggle is not going to be real for me anymore, because I'm going to stand up, I'm going to do what I got to do, and I am not going to continue living this story, things are going to look differently. And when you do
Ooh.
that, and when you start to assess things, that's what changes you from an employee to an executive. And
Mm-hmm.
that's when you start learning things that even I don't. A lot of people don't know this yet, but I'm currently a marketing director and an executive in a company right now because I went from entrepreneur then to an executive in another company to still have my entrepreneur side work. But whenever I enter any company, I'm at an executive level because the CEO can see it right away. Man, this person thinks executively. And guys, once you can think executively, you can't go back. You can't go back. You will always be able to provide for yourself because you're the one executing the decisions. And you realize, and you start even showing the people at the top of any company where the money is because you start to show them, hey, this is how we think.
Right.
Your money mindset is what needs to grow more than just your money. It's
Woo.
your relationship and how you are approaching everything is what needs to grow. And yeah, maybe sometimes you have to make some little differences in how you're spending your money, but a lot of it is how you're choosing to earn it as well and deserve it. Deserve. I was actually talking to someone who was extremely wealthy, and she was about to reach another bracket, and I said, "Well, why not you? Why not you? Like, why do we always see all these people enjoying the life of luxury and you, why not you?" And
Right.
sometimes we have to own that and say, why not me? And that goes back into taking up space. Like, why not you be able to do all expense vacation at 5-star hotels, all these things. Like, why not be able to enjoy it all? And when you get into that, it really starts to shift your perception in life and you wake up differently and you take on opportunities differently because you stop seeing yourself as just working paycheck to paycheck when we were here to live a life and a legacy,
Right.
not just a job. But
Woo.
we will talk all day if that's where we keep the topic at.
Yes, we may have to have a part two of this. The way- Talking specifically about that, because that's like so key. And what you're talking about kind of goes into the next question that I have for you about showing up intentionally, right? And it's like you were saying, the why not me? Like, why is it so hard for us to imagine or to use our imagination, I should say, to think about the possibilities instead of the areas where we lack or the areas where we struggle. You know what I mean? It's like it can be so hard for us to do that sometimes. Like, why is it so hard for us to say, I can do this, like I'm capable, I'm deserving, I'm worthy of this, right? It can be so hard for us to think that way. And it's like, so how do you first, how do you switch that mindset is the first part of my question. And then how do you also show up intentionally, as far as like showing up in these spaces, knowing that you are worthy of these things and knowing that you can do it?
So one of the things is keeping the end in mind.
Mm,
When you think about your 10, I have since 2017, I've been doing 5 to 10 year visions constantly of like, what do I want my next years to look like? What do I want my next years to look like? And really figuring out, we're living life in the moment, but if we continue being consistent here, what would it look like in 5 years, 10 years? The people we're surrounding ourselves with, the things that we're doing, what is it going to look like later? And with all of that, I've started to be more intentional with my actions, and I realize that sometimes we have intentions, but distractions come, and due to the
yes.
distraction, we lose, we change our attention, and then that causes us to go in a different direction. So intention,
Mm,
attention, direction. And when we
ooh,
do that, we can start focusing on everything we want to build. So taking on a sales academy can set you up for success that you could do grand things in real estate or whatever it is you may be doing. But a
mm-hmm,
lot of times people have this mindset that they're just gonna always fail in life, that they're never gonna be this top executive, that they're not gonna be this superstar, that they're not going to make tons and tons of money. So
hmm
at the level of your belief system, which is called a fixed mindset, where your mind is just capped at what you believe your potential is, you can only grow up to that level. John Maxwell, which I'm a student from his academy, he says that people will only be able to grow at the level of their self-image.
mm,
I from the very beginning just told myself like I'm going to be a millionaire, potentially a billionaire. I'm going to be a superstar. I'm going to do it all, have it all. And it looked so far from it, but I said, well, if it is to be, it's up to me because it's already in me. and I'm going to do the work necessary. Like, I'm not going to believe it next year, but hey, why not in 10 years? Why not if I do the right thing and continuing to be focused and to make the right investments of my time? It's not just investment of money, it's investment of your time. What are you doing with your time? And making the pivots, knowing that if you put something down, it doesn't mean you're giving up. It just means you're focusing on something else that will give you more time to do that later. So, for instance, Oksana, I was acting in Dubai, right?
Yeah.
Well, the acting industry was very slow. People were working for pennies. It was very competitive. And I was like, okay, but I want to get my money up, and I can't just sit around like I am fun employed, which means you're just waiting around for a job to come. I'm a very business executive person. I've worked with 8-figure clients where they have all these business projects, and I would sit there and figuring things out for their businesses. So when I had no business to focus on and just trying to pursue acting, I got kind of bored. Like, I was like, no, I mean, time's being wasted and we got to make things done. I ran into a CEO running like 8 empires here in the Philippines. And as soon as I met him, I was like, let's work on your projects. And here I am back in the Philippines working on their projects. I'm like, I could always go back to acting, but I want to put myself to work because I want both. I want the billion-dollar real estate capital, everything over here, and I want to also have exposure and millions of followers. But I realized that I can do it both, but I got to pay attention to the season that I'm in and which one needs to be set and grow. So I said, man, what if I just compromise these next 6 months specifically to being executive? And I could always do acting and modeling on the side, but what if I could make $1 million in just like this amount of time through sales and all this stuff, and I could be set and not have to worry about doing low income acting jobs, because it's always about what you think about in the end in mind. And I realized I could bring more to the table, yes, in acting and modeling, but I could bring a lot to an executive table. So why not leverage that in this season? Think about it. We have to pay attention to the seasons that are happening as well. Our ancestors wouldn't eat apples all day, every day. They would wait till the season of the apples. So pay attention. This is for somebody who's here. Pay attention to the season that is happening. When opportunities of abundance are coming to you, do not reject it because it doesn't look like the moment that you need. What if it's the moment that is coming? The moment that needs to be set up. And I started to realize something because I was staying in a place where there was tons of roommates from all over. It was this penthouse, beautiful hostel in Dubai. But I realized no one had their sustainability. And that was one thing that I realized. I was like, okay, as an artist, as an executive, all this stuff, I didn't have that sustainability. I am going to set up my sustainability now because I don't want to have to worry about this later. And I don't want to keep compromising for these little gigs just because I know I want to be an actor in these moments. And guys, we're giving you raw truth right now because this is what people need on social media. Everyone comes on here and they're a success.
Come on, Branden.
But not enough people share what's going on in their soul. And I'm here to tell you something. Another thing about showing up intentionally is the conversations you have with yourself and with the divine architect, but most importantly, what you say to yourself. Because in everything that you show up to, in every conversation, in every interview, in every live video, every podcast, it's who you are that people feel more than who you're trying to present yourself to be.
Woo. Can we just do a mic drop? That was so good. Oh my goodness. And wow, there's so much to unpack there. Okay. So while you were talking, right, I also was considering something because it's not even a part of recognizing the season, right, is also knowing exactly where you're supposed to be. And I know this is, something that you can definitely relate to, but how important is being at the right place or in the right location to what you were talking about as far as like recognizing the season? Can you touch on that a little bit? Because I know you have a story with that as well about being in the right place.
So honestly, I'm someone who's continually in prayer, and I can't take it anywhere else but spiritually. We had no control over the timeline that we would be living in. I could have been born in the 60s, and but I'm here alive as a millennial in the midst of all the funk and the madness and the weird stuff happening in this world. So I do constantly check my heart and seeing, am I where I'm supposed to be? And not just am I where I'm supposed to be, but is my heart responding the way it's supposed to? Because sometimes you could be somewhere, but then you get caught up in all these other emotions of situations or distractions, and you could be in the right place but with the wrong mindset. Or you could be in the wrong place with the right mindset. Being
Wow.
aware of that as well. And realizing that I've heard a quote one time, we're not trees, we're not meant to just be in the same place our whole lives. I thought I would live in Miami my whole life. Like, yeah, travel the world, but Miami would be home forever. Once I left Miami, I was like, Miami's not home. Miami's ghetto. I'm done. Not that it's ghetto. It's just a little while. It's just not for me anymore.
Right.
And I've had visions for the Philippines for the last 5 years. And I left the Philippines at one point because things got a little bit difficult. It was one of the places where, I mean, the Philippines is one of the places where you earn the least amount of income. And I was brand new to the country. So trying to work with executives, I'm just like this foreign guy who's a model because when people meet me, I mean, right now I'm in a t-shirt that says Just Love. So shout out to this organization that helps people across the world. But people meet me, they see a model, they don't see an executive right away. I don't have a bachelor's degree, I don't have a master's degree, all I had was like certifications. But when a CEO listens to me, they're like, holy crap, this guy can make me money. That's where it comes down to owning who you are and making space. In
Right.
corporate America, you don't have certain things. You can't sit in these boardrooms or even give options. When I was in Dubai, and I told the CEO who was out there, and this is how I ended up in the Philippines back again. I ended up back in the Philippines. I was just trying to hang out in Dubai, but I paid attention to the season and the sale that was taking place. They
Right.
sat me in 3 sales meetings and already introduced me as if I was a sales representative. They wanted to see me. They put me to the test. If I were this person that's like, what am I going to do? I haven't done sales. I've been in acting. I've been just showing. I was literally showing up to castings for acting for 3 months. And then here I am sitting in an executive international distribution of a manufacturing company, sales from the Philippines manufacturing to Dubai, which is
Wow.
at minimum about $18,000 deal of money on the line at this moment. And here they are trusting me. Now the question is, do I trust me? When I was sitting at that sales meeting, a lot was happening internally. But when I spoke, a lot took place where I could feel the atmosphere shifting, and everybody's like, who the hell is this guy? Like, how did this even come about? That right after that, I got the job, clearly, but it was just that moment in time. And I remember walking back to the bathroom, and I was like, oh, you did it. Like, they just said, hey, come to me. They didn't even give me a warning, didn't say hours before. They said 10 minutes before. We're in
Right.
the middle of, they said, okay, you want to work with our company? We have a sales meeting downstairs. And I had 10 minutes in my mind to just remind myself, like, hey, you're not just an actor and a model, you're also an executive. So let's do this. And at that moment, when it was my turn to speak, and I spoke, and the way that I delivered this presentation to this person, without really knowing much about anything in the business, but I do know how to communicate with people, which goes back to the books that I've read. Everyone communicates through Connect, all the sales courses I've done, the Growth Academy, everything. I want to encourage y'all. None of it has been in vain. You may feel like, oh my God, I've wasted so much time on these books, or I've wasted so much time on this academy, I've wasted so much time on this learning, wasted so much time on this prayer, wasted so much time on this meditation. None of it goes in vain if it was in the direction of your destiny, because it's still pumping through your veins. That's the word. Someone write it down. No, but
Sir.
honestly, y'all, like you don't know, you don't understand how beautiful all of it is. And the
Right.
funny thing is, Oksana, side note, this industry is also making me pursue artistry because they have an event on Friday, as I mentioned, and I'm also a
Wow.
singer, and they want me to sing. So on top of being in this executive space, they're allowing me the space to be an artist, and that's where I had to. That's where I go back to prayer, and I have to sit and say, "Hey God, am I following the right direction? Am I following the shiny lights, or is this a season of growth? What is it that you have for me?" It has been one of the greatest blessings to be back in the Philippines, and everything this business has covered all of my costs from rent to everything, and more to come. But it's just, you have to be real with yourself and what do you want? What do you bring to the table? Because, guys, I could have been shy at that sales meeting and ruined it.
Right.
There's one thing to say, hey, I've worked with 8-figure businesses, 8-figure US dollars, so over $10 million companies. I've done all this stuff, and then go into the sales meeting and stutter or get stuck. And right there's no other way to prove it. Yeah, he could talk to my clients, but what is, show me who you are, right? Let's see who you are. Let
Yes.
me hear you speak. Let me hear what it is. And if you don't believe in yourself, if all you're looking at is, oh man, I'm in these castings and they're paying me a little bit because I don't have this much followers, then you allow it to get in the way. Don't allow other people's perceptions of you to rob who you are, because some people don't even know who you are yet, but you know who you are. You know
Come
the battles
on.
You know the wars that you've fought. You know your life story. So are you going to let everything else outside of you be stronger than the force that is inside of you? I just feel that's for somebody. I
Woo.
feel there's tears falling down here. I know there's some people listening that I love and know, but I also know that there's people I don't know that you're listening to this and
Mhm.
you're like, holy crap. Like, I really feel he's speaking to me. Because, guys, this world is hard. And the only ones that are rising to the top are the ones who believe that they have what it takes. And I don't know if you guys have ever watched
Wow.
this show on Netflix, Emily in Paris, but that girl, she shows up to
Yes.
marketing meetings and she knows who she is. And I
Hmm.
realize, oh my God, as I keep watching this show, that's how I show up to sales meetings. And that's why I keep getting raised to the top. Which, by the way, Oksana, as soon as I hit ground in the Philippines, I'm already hosting meetings for their team here. And they're like, who is this guy?
Wow.
He's brand new. He walks into the office in 2 days and he's already, because I can, because I can
You
because
can.
I can show up in my second week of work already and have an executive portfolio with the company that I'm currently working with, and they will sit and
Mhm.
listen. They're like, wow, he does know what he's talking about. You have to know who you are
Wow.
and grow from it and shine in it. The same way when someone says,
Whew.
"Oh, you're a singer, can you sing?" You can't be like, "Oh no, I'm shy," "Oh no, look away, I'm gonna sing this way." Because that's what's funny. In the Emily in Paris show, there's two people that are just like me. There's the marketing executive and then the friend who sings. And I'm both.
Hmm.
And it shows how the friend who sings one time was like, "Oh, but look away and don't stand here," and I'm scared, and we will miss opportunities when we do all of that. Or the same thing
Wow.
with sales. Oh no, I need to learn more about your company. Guys, let the adrenaline rush happen because you were born for this.
Mm.
You were born to do these great things. Pay attention to what you want. And I've always said this. This is, you guys want to understand what my dream is. I believe that I'll have this huge following and I'll be on set for a movie, but then I check my phone and I'm answering business emails for businesses that I've branded or I'm working with, and I'm also earning money while I'm earning money on set. That's the way I see it. So I'm like, I gotta feed both of them because I want both of them to take place. Do you know what you want your both to look like? Do you know what you
Right.
want your future to look like? Because when you have an idea of it, you could show up even greater. And I do see
Hmm.
myself recording albums. So when somebody tells me sing a song, I'm like, okay, maybe there might be somebody in the audience that needs to hear this to connect me to where I gotta go. Stop missing the opportunity and start being clear on the vision of who you want to be. That way you can make space, because we got to get back to the title. Make space, make room on who you are, so that as you can shine in who you are, you just show up. And guys, today it was 8 in the morning. I had to get ready for this video. I was like, oh, what am I gonna wear? And I'm like, I'm not gonna wear a work shirt for this because by the time I'm done, I'm gonna sweat. I'm literally in a white t-shirt. But because I'm in a white t-shirt with this power, you forget that I'm just sitting in a t-shirt sitting here outside, because all you hear is the fire. And some of you are so stuck in procrastination because of your
Mm.
perfectionism that you want to look all polished and perfect that you're not even getting started. But that's for someone else.
Whew. Listen, you are talking my language right now, okay? I love it. Oh my goodness. That was powerful, Brandon. Gosh, that was powerful. I need a second. Wow. Wow. So if you're just coming in, like, heat is being dropped, okay? So just go ahead and get in the comments and see what's happening. But wow, we had a lot of people commenting while you were talking, so I just want to kind of highlight some of these comments here. So we had Grind talking about legacy. Yes, legacy is definitely a big one. The mindset shift. Bethany said, "This is amazing." Brittany was here cheering you on, saying it's in you. Own who you are. Sean said that you're talking to her. Shine, it's who you are. And this is one of my favorite quotes from tonight. Let the adrenaline rush happen. I loved that. Let it happen. This was awesome. Okay. Wow. So good. All right. So let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. So we talked about showing up intentionally a little bit. One of the things that I really got from what you just said was that we make it so much more complicated than it needs to be. We make it so much more complicated than it needs to be. When all we really have to do is believe, prepare, and show up. Like, it's that simple, but we make it so complicated. So I love the fact that you really broke that down as far as, like, all the things that we go through in our minds that hinder us from just stepping out and believing it and just owning who we are. That was so good. So along that line, let's talk about some of the roadblocks that we face when it comes to authenticity too. We kind of touched on a couple, but specifically, I feel like when it comes to being authentic, right? Some of the mistakes, the two main mistakes, like you were saying, is either playing small, or another one is the pressure to feel like we have to imitate other people or try to copy what we see in order to be relevant. So, like, what advice would you have for people as far as like not falling into some of those mistakes and not feeling like they have to copy or imitate to remain relevant or be trendy?
So that's funny you said trendy because I feel that I want to talk about the online presence. I feel that there's not
Hmm.
enough people explain this. For your, let's say your feed, your Instagram feed, Facebook feed, TikTok. I don't know. TikTok is its own little dinosaur animal thing, unicorn that's happening over there. But for Instagram and for Facebook, for professionals, for you, for me, for people here who are commenting,
Right.
I do feel authenticity is needed, but professionalism is also needed on your feed. Why? Because it's your first impression when people meet you. The same way you shouldn't let people meet you with a wrinkled shirt or your hair all a mess. You want to always be presentable. But your stories can be a way that you connect in a more authentic, connecting, deeper way. And your feed can be some way that you're still authentic, you still have what you have, but it's not the place where you're going to be like, I woke up with a zit today. Do you get what I'm saying? There's a difference.
Yeah.
But I have learned that the more authentic and the more you connect with people, because the part of authenticity is just connecting. You know, sometimes
Yes.
authenticity is just letting people look you in the eyes as you speak. You know, authenticity can be, hey, as I'm saying this, a tear falls down from my face. You know, one of the things that I've realized with social media, it was a bit of a battle because my
Mhm.
profile, for those of you who don't have me on Instagram, it's Branden.Alaen, Alaen, and Branden, Branden, as you see it there. When you go in, it's very polished. It's very polished. All the images are very eye catching, and it catches your attention. It causes you to want to scroll. That was years of practice of figuring out how do I want to show up online. And I realized that with the online presence, the way that you show up authentically is have your setup. You know, I had a manager before from a pageant was like, oh, you don't have a shirt on in half of your photos. We're gonna have to put a shirt on. But I realized I'm like, no, I still like being this wild jungle man in my content because I love sitting at the ocean all day. Obviously, I can't be this wild jungle man in a corporate office, but
Right.
I don't want to lose that little kid adventure side to my brand. So that's a very part
Hmm.
of knowing how you want your brand to look and keeping that in mind. Because if someone starts to shape your content and you no longer feel content within your content, you can't keep producing the content that you want and you're going to lose it from everybody. Now, when it
Hmm.
comes to your stories, um, don't worry about it necessarily being so polished, but worry about being consistent. You know,
Ooh.
one thing about authenticity is if you show up every day, people will know who you are. That's one of the things where sometimes I don't trust these celebrities because I don't see them post a story or a live video. You want people to know who
Right.
you are? Let them see you more and more day to day, connecting, like share more. Do a live something like this. It's really hard not to be authentic and be on a video like this where questions are being
Hmm.
asked and sharing your day. Y'all are finding out things way more than my family and friends or followers have known when it comes to my current situation. People just know I went to the Philippines. They don't know the whole story of what happened. And I haven't felt led to
Hmm.
share with everybody because I'm like, it's still in the mix, but I felt led to be authentic in this video and tell me y'all don't connect with it
Wow.
more, you know, and
Yes.
just be honest. Like I could have easily been on here and like, yeah, guys, because I did this and I could just be lying my ass off. Excuse my French, but I could just be lying right now on everything. Instead, I'm
Hmm.
just gonna be feeling authentic. Why? Because I don't have to worry about it later. If oh, did I say this correctly? Is this gonna come back to me and do it? Authenticity is just being pure. It's the bliss
Yeah.
of innocence. You know, innocence is bliss. You know, in the sense of they say ignorance is bliss. I say innocence is bliss. It's the pureness of the situation, being raw and real of who you are, and just really, when it comes to that dynamic of your feed, if you do want to start showing up as a creative instead of just a consumer, meaning you want to create your own content, then do the
Hmm.
most. Do the most in how you present it, but don't get too suffocated where you don't post anything. But
Right.
start archiving things that you realize are not so necessary. You know, sometimes as a content creator, we like to hold on to every piece of content just because we love it so much, but we really don't need to hold on to everything there. Less is more sometimes with your news feed, and just
Hmm.
really attention to where are you taking your brand and who is your audience, who is your desired audience. And one of my audiences that I desire, it's just I want to really have that mindset motivation, but I also want people to look at my content and be like, yo, I want to be able to tap into that kind of flow and that kind of energy. So keep that in mind as
Wow.
well.
Yeah, that's definitely the key. Like just showing up and like you said, keep showing up consistently and just be yourself. That's the biggest thing. And anybody that's been following me for any significant amount of time, you know how big I am on authenticity. So you know I'm right here with Brandon when he says this, right? But definitely making sure that you're showing up as you. You don't have to try to be anybody else. You don't have to try to imitate anybody else. Just show up as who you are and allow who you are to speak and connect you to the people that are supposed to be connected to you. And I think that's one of the things we rob ourselves of when we try to imitate or try to copy is that we can't really connect with the people we're meant to serve because we're trying to be somebody else. So that's why you're not attracting the right audience because you're trying to be somebody else who's called to other people. But the people that you're called to are going to answer to exactly who you are. They're going to resonate with who you are. So it's important to show up as you. So I definitely agree with that 100%. Okay. So we've talked about some roadblocks, we've talked about authenticity, we've talked about being confident, right? But let's talk about some strategies. Like, what are some things or strategies that you've personally used to work on that confidence and to take up space both on stage and off stage, right? Because we know like there's always that pressure in front of the camera to perform, right? But on stage and off stage, what are some tips and strategies that you've used to make sure that you're showing up confidently?
I think nothing makes you better than just showing up and practicing and doing it over and over again. I mean, my first pageant compared to the last pageant I did, the performance is like it's a level up times a thousand. You know, same thing
Right.
with singing. The way I sing now versus how I used to sing. Even with acting castings, like it's different. You know,
Mhm.
but also with sales and marketing and online social media, all these things. It's just you gotta show up. If you know that this is what you want to do, then keep showing up and practice and get better and better. You know, I've realized with singing, Oksana, you're a singer. The more we sing, the better we
Mhm.
get. Correct? Like if you
Right.
stop singing for a bit, then your
100%.
voice gets rusty. But if you start singing every day and you show up more and or a certain song, you practice a song and you keep singing that song. Well, like I realized for Friday, I want to sing a song by Coldplay. And I was like, man, I sang
Mhm.
this song so many places, but I realized I'm just getting better and better at singing this song because I keep singing it, you know?
Exactly.
And I think it was Jet Li, I mean, Bruce Lee, that said, I don't want to learn 1,000 kicks. I want to learn how to kick. I want to do the same kick 1,000 different ways. I want to be able to master it in so many different ways, but that one kick. So I want you to really focus on what is it that you need to nail in this moment and how can you continue showing up to it so you can get better
Mhm.
and better and better and better at it. And I realize it's not just sales that I want to get better at because I've realized if you can do sales, you can rule the world in anything. Like sales is the number one. Everybody got to sell something. Even if you got to sell, hey, stay listening to me as I talk on this video. I know what I'm talking about. That's a sale.
Right.
But really
Exactly.
sitting back and saying, what else do I want to learn? What else do I want to get better at? And I've realized it's like networking and connecting. So sitting down, figure out what you don't know, why you want to know more of it, and how can you show up to it more. So that's one of the best ways to continue getting better. And it happened with modeling. I paid attention to what people said I was weak at, and then I figured out how can I
Mhm.
stretch, how can I get help, how can I get tutors, how can I get. I had a walking coach. My last one of my walks for swimwear were phenomenal, and it's because I had a runway coach for that. If you are not
Mhm.
where you want to be, like I said, stand on books, stand on knowledge, stand on other people's expertise, but don't sit here and victimize yourself and say, "Oh, I suck," or "I'm never good enough." Yeah, well then you won't,
Exactly.
because that's what you're gonna keep saying to yourself. That's what you're gonna keep believing. But we got one life to live, so why not be a master, a demigod in the process of everything that we can do? But also pay
Mhm.
attention to really worth your energy, or you're trying to prove a point to people. So that's a
Right.
whole nother, like,
That's a whole other
really sit
topic.
and figure out why are you doing what you're doing and what is the motive behind it. And
Right.
are you really putting in all this energy to prove a point or to prove it to yourself that, hey, this is what I really want to do?
That is good. There's two things that you said that I really wanted to highlight. The first being that you took the criticism that you heard and used it as fuel to become better. And I think that's something that is definitely something that we all can learn from, right? Like not allowing the negativity or even the constructive criticism that we get from people to stop us or to paralyze us. That's the word I'm looking for. But instead to take that and learn from it and use it as an opportunity to grow. I think most of the successful people that I've ever talked to, they all have that in common. They don't just allow things to stop them. They take what comes at them and they use it as fuel. Right. So I think that's very powerful what you just said. And definitely write that down if you are taking notes tonight or if you're jotting down anything from this live. Taking the criticism that you receive and using it to make yourself better instead of allowing it to stop you. That's very, very big. And then the second thing you said that I wanted to highlight was the way that we talk to ourselves. What happens when we are the biggest critic, right? How do we combat those thoughts? And I think it's important, like you were saying, to not come into agreement with it. You don't have to agree with those thoughts. You can decide that, hey, I don't have to agree with this. I don't have to think about myself this way. I don't have to be this way. And you start speaking what you want to see in your life and what you want to see over yourself. And there's power in that. And I know one of the things that we've talked about before too, Brandon, and maybe you might want to piggyback off of this, is affirmations and the role of speaking those things over your life. Like, how has that helped you as far as your confidence and the way you take up space?
Well, definitely, we live in a spiritual world, and in the spiritual world, there's something called familiar spirits, and these familiar
Hmm.
spirits are derailed destiny. You could be in the right place with the right mindset, everything, but then these familiar spirits will come to distract and derail you from who you are. So, being
Hmm.
aware of who you are, and and if you're not who you are fully, then how do you speak that person into you? So, you
Right.
guys have heard of the book, The Secret, right? And it says like, I
Hmm.
believe part where it says, I am so grateful and thankful that a certain amount of money is coming to me and da, 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 right? Well, you have to believe that you are a success, that you are capable of achieving that success. You
Right.
know, a lot of times, some of you, and it goes back to having this regular job, you know, all you're seeing is I believe I got bills to pay. I believe life is hard. I believe the struggle is real. I believe I hate my job. Like, but what about the belief in the powerful, positive outcomes of what are going to happen in your life? So you could say, I believe miracles happen every day. That's something I've been
Hmm.
holding on. We have 20 days till Christmas and about 25 days till the end of the year.
Hmm.
Do you not believe that something beautiful, amazing, incredible could happen in routes of your destiny? I've been holding on. I've just been feeling
Yes,
that. That's something that's been stirring in me. I feel that
definitely.
maybe the reason I'm in the Philippines is also because I needed to be here because something even greater is happening in these moments. You know,
Hmm.
I was recently told that like some of the deals that I'm going to close here, as long as I stay in the company, will get lifetime commission from huge sales. So I'm like, yo, I believe this month can be
Wow.
filled with huge deals being closed because I'm an optimist in the sense of like, I'm here, I'm showing up daily, I'm doing the work necessary, good is going to happen to me. So maybe some of
Yes.
the affirmations you need are not just I'm smart, I'm intelligent, I'm capable, but the atmosphere is shifting in the direction for me.
Whew.
This earth is working in my favor. Abundance reaches me. You see, a lot of
Mm.
times it's I am. But beyond who you are, it's what needs to start reaching you. What needs to start facing into your direction. What needs to attach itself to you. You know, angels are guarding me and protecting me against whatever other attacks are taking place. You have to pay attention. I'm not religious at all, and anybody will tell you that. But I am very spiritual in the sense that I know that we are spiritual beings. And I heard something one time that we are spirits, and inside the spirit, there's a body. So we always think, oh, the spirit is inside our body. No, we are
Hmm.
spirits on the outside of us. So even in this moment, the vibration that is in me, the hope, the faith that I have in dreams and in greatness and everything I got, I believe it's radiating through here and it's beginning to cause a shift inside of you. We got some workers in the back, as you can see. But right now, I want you to understand that this is the moment. And what if we all come into the synergy, which is the ability to put power together and believe that before the end of this year, great things, that could be the affirmation, great things are
Great
happening in
things.
my favor even now.
Whew.
Opportunities are happening even now. And I heard something recently. when you hear good news for other people, don't think, oh, every good news happens to everybody but me. No, I want you to say, it's my turn. Because good stuff is happening for me. Favor is falling upon me. Opportunities and doors
Yes.
are opening every single day now. I want you to believe that that's what's about to start happening for you. Those are the affirmations you need to say. And sometimes you don't even have the energy to say it out loud, but I want you to at least have a glimmer of hope in this moment because good things can happen. And it's when you have
Wow.
that mindset that everything negative and everything dark and everything bad is happening, you're letting the darkness in your life, in your atmosphere,
Exactly.
in your mind win.
Whew.
So take your affirmation. Sometimes my affirmation is just let there be light. Because it says you just need
Mm.
light to shine through
Branden.
all the dark thoughts you got going on. And I feel like
Whew.
some of you just want to cut the lights out sometimes. It's so much easier to just give up on everything. But I need you to say, let there be light. Because if things have gotten dark and things have just gotten so deep and so sad, you got to ask yourself, man, why is it that I feel so broken and defeated? Could it be that I'm such a
Mm.
powerful being like Branden and Oksana, that there's something powerful inside of me and that the darkness of this world just wants me to stay quiet, it wants me to stay dim, it wants me to stay broke, it wants me to stay lost, it
Come
wants me to
on.
stay stuck? Because the moment I move, I'm a force like them. Maybe, just
Mm.
maybe. And even if you have that little bit of hope and faith in yourself, then maybe your life will start looking different because you'll start showing up differently.
Woo. Branden. Oh my goodness. Wow. There's one thing about what you said that I really wanted to, well, there's a lot of things about what you said, but there's one thing specifically that really stood out to me. And it's the importance of when you're speaking, right? When you're speaking these words and you're affirming, do it in present tense. That's so important. Present tense. And it's been scientifically proven that words have the ability to reshape our DNA, right? So, like when we speak, there's a power in that. And when you speak something and you're always saying, well, it will happen or it could happen. No, 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 no. Present tense, right? You're creating with your words. And that's so important. So I love the fact that every affirmation that you said was present tense or it was a command. You know what I mean? So that was really, really powerful. So I wanted to highlight that. Do it in present tense, not I will be successful. I will be, no, I am successful. I am walking in greatness. And even with the words I am, for those that are on here, you already know where I'm going with that part. I am. That part is important, right? So I just wanted to highlight that because I think it was very important what you just said. And to do it in present tense is like something that we may not always think about, but it's a strategy that we may not always think about, but it's very powerful. I am. Yeah, that's right, Brittany. I am. So we had a lot of comments coming in. I'm just going to highlight a few of them. Sean said, miracles happen every day. Abundance reaches me. Angels protect me. My spirit radiates out of me. Brittany said, it's my turn. Sam said, this is my winning season. That's right, Samantha. It is your winning season. Okay, speak it, own it. Sean said, it is my turn. Light be right. When you said, let there be light, I was like, oh boy. That was powerful. Yes, in present tense, that's key. It is, I am. Yeah, those two words right there, nothing to play with. Yep, present tense, not future tense. I am. Yep, Bethany caught it. She said, I am that I am. All right, awesome. So yeah, Branden, like, wow. I wanted to leave a few minutes here at the end in case anybody had any specific questions for you that you may want to answer really quick. So let me just go ahead and put this up here. So if you have a question for Branden, feel free to put it in the comments. And also, if you want to stay connected with Branden, or even if you wanted to schedule a discovery call with him and see how he can help you on your path, you can definitely check out his Instagram, Branden.Alaen, so you can get connected with him, find out what he has going on. And I'll also give you a chance to talk about that too while we're waiting on questions to come in, Branden. So you want to tell them a little bit about your discovery call and what you offer?
Yes. Can you hear me good? Because they started doing some
Yes.
construction. Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
So a discovery call is first of all figuring out what's going on and if I can help you. If you're someone I want to work with, straight up, we got to be able to be compatible in the sense of how we're going to work together. I don't just take on any client.
Right.
But also, what is your objective? What is your end in mind? How we can create that synergy and seeing if I'm the right mentor for you. You know, a lot of times everyone says, "Oh, I'm the greatest mentor," but it's like, "But am I the mentor for you?" Not everybody
Hmm.
is the right mentor for you. So I like to have this conversation with that. We could discuss prices with that. But most important thing is if you're ready to completely shift your life. I'm not the average person. You know, I, I like to call it like I'm a runaway American. I left America 3 years ago. Around this time, I went on a tour across Asia and decided to live in the Philippines, chase my dreams. Then I was living in Dubai. I'm doing everything that a lot of people sit, hope, and wait and wish for, but I'm actually doing it. And not a lot of people do that. So sometimes that's the mentor you need. You know, I didn't
Hmm.
have life handed to me. I've fought through so many fires to become this person. And I didn't really have the mentors to make me this person. Life's beatdowns made me this person in all aspects. So if you're ready to learn, to grow, to become, and to be all that you are called to be, then set up a call with me.
Awesome. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so if you guys had any questions for Branden, this is the time because we have a few more minutes before we get out of here. So if you have a question, go ahead and put that in the comments for him so he can have a chance to address any questions that you may have. Or if you just want to say this was great, thanks so much for sharing. Just anything you want to say to Branden, go ahead and put it in those comments for us so we can chat with you. And I also want to take a second to honor you, Branden, and to say thank you for all that you've helped me with on my journey. You're definitely an amazing mentor and somebody that I'm very honored and privileged to know. So thank you for all that you have done for me as well. I definitely, encourage you guys to check out his Instagram, check out what he has going on, his content, and just stay connected with Branden because he's doing some really great things. Oh, we did have one question though, Branden, so I'm going to pull that up for you. Okay, so Brittany said, "Hey, Branden,
Before
in the midst." Oh, go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. Before we get to the question, I just want to give the flowers to Oksana in saying, as I've been on this journey of like, hey, I'm going to do acting or I'm going to be a boss, I'm going to be an executive, her level of wisdom on how to brand yourself. And if you don't know the difference of branding and marketing, branding is how you present yourself, marketing is how you deliver it. But with social
Mhm.
media, you're kind of branding and marketing at the same time because people go into your page and it's the way that it's being delivered, but at the same time, it's your presentation. Oksana has really helped me to compartmentalize but yet show up as one person. And she even gave me the tip of like, hey, don't have all these different pages, just be Branden and let Branden flow through everything that she does. So she has a very good skill. If anybody's looking to have your website set up, I mean, look at her website. It speaks for itself. She's actually going to be helping me with my website. I'm like, yeah, I'm hiring you for my
Mhm.
website because I haven't seen anybody really create a website the way you do. I'm even letting some of these businesses know that I'm working with, like, yo, Oksana is who you go to for website building. But it's
Thank
not
you.
just the website building; it's how do you present yourself in your branding. And branding yourself is a journey, you know. And somebody has this
Yes.
level of expertise that they've been doing it for so long now, and for themselves because she's an author, she's a speaker, she's rebranded herself. Then just save yourself the hassle. You know, sometimes you're not investing because you're on the edge, but it's like, when was the last time you spent $50? Right? Ask yourself that question. Now, when was the last time you spent $50 to invest in the future version of yourself? Something to think
Ooh,
about.
wow. Thank you so much, Branden. I appreciate you. I really do. Okay, so Brittany's question before we get out of here was, "Hey, Branden, in the midst of creating that synergy for yourself and own mindset to where you are now, how did you balance along the way those around you or just others in general who haven't quite hit that mindset level?" So I guess what she's asking is, how do you deal with people that haven't grown
Yeah.
as you're growing?
I had World War III with family. Because when you're in your 30s and you still don't have the life that they expected, especially with Hispanic family, where you're supposed to be married to kids and have it all set, and not and a college degree along with it, um, I just realized this is a self-learning journey. I need to know who I am, love who I am, because I got to show up to everything, and I don't want to be happy for other people and miserable in who I am because of other
Woo!
people. So I had to just learn to really love Branden and look at myself in the mirror, even after days of dark and dirty times, and look in the mirror and love the man that I see and care about
Wow.
him and show up to everything for him. So beyond other people understanding what I'm doing, it's me understanding what I'm doing. And this pivot of me coming to the Philippines after doing acting in Dubai, I didn't ask for anybody's opinion on my executive decision. is I realized a big part about being an executive is not waiting for someone else's green light to make a decision. So by
Yes.
strengthening that relationship with me, constantly staying in prayer with God, and doing something called meditation, where it's just allowing my brain to chew on ideas. It's shifted, but I've realized that in the process of evolving, I have to realize not everybody has evolved, but someone's lack
Mhm.
of evolution should never be the brakes of my evolution. So
Woo!
understand that. Just because someone else isn't choosing to grow doesn't mean that it has to slow down your growth. And we got all this life to grow. And I want to be like a Muir Woods tree growing, like the ones in San Francisco, those trees that are hundreds of years old, but they're monuments. I want to grow like that as a human. That is my legacy. That's what I want to do. I want to be someone who gave it their all, who believed in themselves. And if I'm doing this already at 33, imagine at 43. And that's the way I always look at it. So other
Wow.
people's inability to grow, to learn, I end up just not being so close to them because we outgrew the relationship, we outgrew the friendship. And I recently
Hmm.
had someone, Brittany, tell me one of my businesses was going bankrupt, and they said, "Well, how are you going to be a consultant if you're not a success?" And I let that shut me down. I let that
Mm.
shut me down, and I didn't realize that that's why I was just pursuing acting and just waiting on castings, because I let the negative words of someone who was supposed to be a friend shut me down. But when I showed up to that sales meeting with these executives and I got these marketing director position and all this stuff, I realized like, wow, I was imprisoned by the words of these people. So be mindful of who you let into your ear and what they're saying about you and your future and how they're perceiving you, because it can affect your perception of you. So be very, very
Yes.
mindful of that. And especially when it comes to family. You know, these familiar spirits can operate in the people you love the most. And sometimes you'll listen to them more because it came from
Mm.
a familiar voice, but it could just be a familiar spirit set to derail your destiny. So figure out
Woo!
who you are, grow who you are, sit alone with your vision board, sit alone with your dreams, sit alone with your heart, sit with the architect of all of it who orchestrated it, and be real with what you want and forget about other people's opinions about a
Yes.
situation and go and live your best life.
Ooh. Now that was a word. Oh my goodness. Wow, wow, wow. That was powerful. Just letting you see some of these comments. Yep, she said self love. Wait, self first. That's it. Love it. Sean said that's a word. Self legacy. That's good. Yeah, that part got me too, Brittany. Imprisoned by the words of people. Don't let it affect your perspective of you. Oh my gosh. She said thank you. Yeah, that was some depth right there, Brittany. Oh my goodness. Well, Brandon, this has been amazing. I definitely would love to do this again, but maybe in a masterclass setting. Maybe. We'll see. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on here and sharing the well of wisdom that you have with everyone. I know a lot of people were set free and encouraged by this. So thank you so much for your time and for all that you do. I definitely appreciate you. And once again, guys, if you want to stay in touch with him or book a discovery call, his Instagram is Branden.Alaen. So be on the lookout for some clips from this live. Make sure that you share it, let people know about it, spread the word. And thank you for tuning in to Taking Up Space. We will see you guys next time.
All right, take care, beautiful, incredible, amazing souls, and really believe that you are going to give it your all with this life. All right, don't be sold the retirement dream that in 40 years then you'll decide to live. No, start now. Start growing yourself, building yourself up. Believe at any moment you can make millions of dollars. You can end up very famous. Whatever it may be, whatever is your desire, why not you? And maybe that's what
Yes.
all this needs to come down to: how to take up space. Why not you be one of the top people on Forbes magazine? Why not you be one of the top influencers on social media? Why not you? If you know your heart, you know your strategy, you know your struggle, and you know your story, why not you be the next person being on a YouTube video just like this? I love y'all. Have an amazing day. And Oksana, thank you for this opportunity from
Thank
Orlando to the
you.
Philippines. We out.